Welcome to Subramani. Uh, One of the important reasons that you get happiness in your life and in your whether in your marriage or in your investments is something very simple. I think Buffett has also said this in many occasions. Is lower your expectations. You don't have too high expectations. So same thing is true in investing, and same thing is true while going into the jungles to look for tigers, etc. Especially in Indian jungles. When you go to Africa, you don't have to worry. Animals are plenty, right? So the question is, what choice of animals do you see? That's it. But the animals are all there. You don't have to search for it. Whereas in India, when you're looking for a tiger, lot of stress is taken by people saying, how many tigers did you see, and how was the sighting today, did you see anything, right? So there are times when I've seen a tiger just lying on its back and its paws held like this and doing nothing. So have I seen a tiger? Yes, I've seen a tiger. Did I see its face? No. But do I know that the face is there? Yes, but I saw the paw, right? So it happens. Sometimes you are in a jeep which is going and behind the tiger, and you're just seeing the tail. You're not able to see the face, but you know the face is on the other side. So these things happen. So similarly, while investing, have your expectations to be low. Is it enough to meet your goals? Is it are you happy doing this? Are you happy with that portfolio? Once you do those things, right, you worry about your goals and you worry about whether you can meet your goals, whether your portfolio is doing well enough for you to retire, for getting your children's marriage and your children's education, your parents medical treatment, whatever. If you have money for all that, then hardly you should be able to say, I actually don't care what happens to my portfolio as long as I am able to meet my goals. Unfortunately, people don't see that. People look at it as a scorecard. Oh, how many tigers did you see? You saw 5, we saw only 4. Which one did we miss? Hardly matters. Are you happy seeing the tiger? There are times when I see a tiger very close and I say, I just put down the camera and I'm just enjoying the luster of its skin, how shiny it is, and you can see it breathe, right? So sometimes you're that close. There was a time when we saw a tiger's very happily licking her wounds and did not even bother to look at us when we were about 10-15 feet away. It's bad to be so close, but yes, we were there, and she didn't even bother looking at us, and that is what happens even in the market. So first of all, you should not really lot of the success is in your head, and it comes from the fact that I look at some of the things that I do. I don't really sit and calculate what returns I get. Yeah, occasionally it is nice to see something and say, oh, in this I've got 13% return, in this I've got some 42% return in this infrastructure fund. These things happen, but those don't really matter. Will it really change anything in my life? Will I not be able to will I be able to meet all my goals? Once I am able to do that, whether I get 42% or whether I get 24% or 18% doesn't really matter. You all know that 42% is not sustainable. So first, don't look for that perfect great return. Second, don't look for that perfect portfolio. Nothing like that exists. There is nothing called a perfect portfolio. What is perfect for you may be different for somebody else. What is a perfect portfolio for the next 3 months is going to be very different for the perfect portfolio for 30 years, right? So don't worry too much about getting the perfect portfolio. Don't worry about getting the perfect asset allocation. That also does not exist. It exists only in the minds of professors who are teaching, who are PhDs, who don't invest their own money, right? For them, there is something called a perfect portfolio. They can draw diagrams, they can draw charts and say, this is the point at which you are indifferent as to how much you have in debt and how much you have in equity. Let them bother. It does not matter for you. As long as you are able to eat well and sleep well and meet all your goals, and your spouse and children understand what you are doing, you're doing very well. So don't bother too much about that perfect portfolio and perfect asset allocation. These things will keep happening. Sometimes it is good, sometimes it is bad. Sometimes when you think you should not be investing, you have invested and it has done well. Sometimes when you think you should be selling, you have not sold and the market has actually fallen, then you kick yourself for being lazy. Understand, all this is part of the process. It's not going to, you're not going to get the perfect portfolio, perfect asset allocation, perfect return, because there is nothing called perfect. Each person has to handle his own emotions and see what can be sustained, what can be perfect, what can't be perfect. In your own mind there is something called perfect. There's no perfection available in the world, right? So don't be seeking that perfection. Don't be saying I am going to Kaziranga and I will see 3 tigers. It's not going to happen. Maybe it won't happen at all. In Kaziranga the only thing guaranteed is rhino and perhaps elephants. But if the elephants are in the grass and far away, you can't see it. You definitely need your binocs, and sometimes you can see only the bone, the backbone of the elephant. The grass is so tall, right? So sometimes you know there is an elephant and you can't see it. Sometimes you know there is a tiger roaring but you can't see it. All these things happen, right? So don't bother about that perfect portfolio, perfect asset allocation. And if your company is good, for example, I'm invested in something like Colgate or a Nestle for the last 40 years plus. I don't look at the quarterly earnings, because there'll be somebody who will say, oh, fantastic quarterly earnings, I hope you're happy. I'm indifferent to it. My cost has come down so dramatically, I don't worry about the quarterly earnings. I worry about quarterly earnings in some of my new investments, or where I don't know the promoter or something like that, right? So for example, Indigo, I started buying sometime during I think just during COVID or just post COVID. 800 was the price, I remember. So, and then I've been buying and buying, and I've also bought it 4,000 rupees. I've also bought it 4,200 rupees. I know that I'm going to be in it for the long run. So if one quarterly, if they miss, to me it doesn't really matter. Next thing which should not matter to you, on which I've done videos many times, is trying to explain every small thing that happens in the market. None of us have an answer. Why the market fell, why the market went up. When the market falls, everybody wants a reason why the market fell. Is it FII selling? Is it DII selling? Is it China going up, therefore people are selling in India? Is it interest rates going up in Japan, so that Japan carry trade is not working? Or interest rates are going up in US, therefore Indian markets are being impacted? All these reasons, yes, and more. But don't try to explain everything that happens in the market. Very few people can. In fact, nobody can. That person who can is an imaginary person. So keeping on wondering what the market is doing on a regular basis is very difficult. Second, one very important thing which I keep telling others, and I'm pretty indifferent to what others think about my portfolio, but people come and ask, what is the IRR that you're getting? What is the size of your portfolio? So size of my portfolio, I've already told people, is something between 25 crores and 225 crores. You pick a number. 26 is also your right, 224 also your right. Don't bother. Then people ask me, what is the IRR that you're getting? Honestly, I don't even calculate the IRR that I'm getting, but I know overall it must be doing well, because I can meet all my goals. That's more important, right? But somebody asked and I said I'm getting 21% IRR. It doesn't really matter whether it is over 20 years, 40 years, right? So 13% over 40 years is not a bad IRR. So 22% over 40-year period is not sustainable. So these kind of things, yes, it is sustainable for a few investors at the top, but for most people it's not going to be very sustainable, right? So be indifferent to that, and getting everybody to agree, getting everybody to be on your page, right? On let's say I go to Twitter and I say I bought Indigo, and somebody says no, Indigo is overpriced, Zomato is overpriced and you should be selling, etc. I find a lot of people on the social media wanting to teach me how to invest. Actually, it's not my ego saying you cannot teach me. I just don't want to learn new things, right? I'm done with my learning. It is now my implementation stage that I'm worried about. I hope to implement all my learnings well. That is far more important for me than learning something new, because what will I do with the learning if I can't implement it? So I think learning is exaggerated. I've said this in reading is exaggerated, learning is underplayed. Learning is more important than reading. So if you read, make notes, keep it with you, reread it, understand it. If you don't understand, go back to the book. Exactly how you would have studied for an exam is how you should read investment books, right? So that is what you should be doing. But getting other people to agree with what I am doing, I really don't care. I'm happy with what I am doing, and I say that on Twitter also, saying this is what I am doing, boss. If you want to copy, you can copy, but if you think you can run your PMS or your personal portfolio or your DIY by just watching my videos, you're sadly mistaken. Even I can't run my portfolio just looking at my videos. There are so many other inputs which I don't even know how to capture and give it to you, right? So knowing all this gives you good return. Like what I said, when you go into the forest, you're saying what you're definitely going to get, like assured returns, right? So you're definitely going to get a lot of greenery. You're going to find a lot of flora and fauna. I mean, some 50,000 varieties of birds and insects exist. So you learn about those birds and insects, learn about other mammals, right? You want to know more about a monkey, you want to know about deer, spotted deer, cheetah, right? All those things, learn about those things. You will have fun in the jungle. Tiger is absolutely incidental. Don't worry about, don't say, oh, it's a tiger sighting safari. It is definitely a tiger sighting safari. The tiger will definitely sight you. You may or may not sight the tiger. Thank you.